They're seeing it for what it truly is, a mess. Just because you love someone, just because they taste sweet, doesn't mean that they can treat you however they want. So there is nothing purely positive in this song. There's always a tinge of negativity associated with it. That's very much reflective of the dynamic of this relationship.
I will make sure to link my Lana Del Rey analyses playlist. It contains all the songs that I've analyzed so far. Most recently, I've analyzed the song Arcadia, Blue Banisters, both the song and the music video, and Wildflower Wildfire. Feel free to request which song I should analyze next of Lana or any artist in the comments below.
Hi everyone, welcome to this video. On my channel, I analyze song lyrics very in depth through the lens of literary analysis. Today we're going to be analyzing the song Watercolor Eyes by Lana Del Rey. This song was featured on HBO's show Euphoria. My top low-key reminds me of watercolors because it's so like tranquil and peaceful. Even though I don't watch Euphoria, thanks to Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, I low-key know a good amount of the plot. I know the characters by name, most of them, and I have very strong opinions about the characters, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. My ring teacup is back because I'm gonna spill some tea about the characters on this show. I'm actually not really gonna do that. I'm just gonna share my opinion about something that I shouldn't be sharing it on because, again, I don't watch the show. So, Nate is the worst. We all hate Nate. I've seen some scenes of Nate and I'm like scared of him. He also just makes me really angry. Like my Aries energy becomes very strong whenever I see Nate's face. Aries energy is not to be messed with. I'm like low-key scared of Maddie, but I like her a lot. And I think her outfits are the cutest. I feel like Cassie needs to just like stop talking to boys and read Eat, Pray, Love. I definitely like stan Fez for the most part. I know that he like facilitates illegal activities and I feel like he should stop doing that. But also I just like the way he talks. I don't know what it is. I want him to have like a podcast or he should like become the voice of a GPS and like I would never be stressed in traffic. I would just be chill. Do you know what like messes with me a lot is the fact that Mick Steamy from Grey's Anatomy is Nate's dad and he is doing things in this show and he like creeps me out, TBH. Like Mick Steamy, like what's going on? Okay, poll. Would you rather be friends with McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy or Mick Steamy from Grey's Anatomy? I like don't want to be friends with either one of them. I just really want to go to coffee with Hook from Once Upon a Time. Captain Guyliner. I feel like he has the same energy as Kovu does in The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. And if you watched my analysis of the song Exile by Taylor Swift, you know how I feel about Kovu. You know. Tea time is over. I drank coffee before filming this, so I'm like this right now. All right, before we begin, I do want to remind you that everything I discuss is just my own personal opinion. Music is very subjective. I'm not telling you that you should think about the song this way. We're just talking about some potential song meanings. As always, I would love to know what your own perspective is down below in the comments. I love words a lot, so I tend to concentrate on diction, which is word choice, and connotation, which can be thought of as the vibes or the emotions that the words elicit. If at any point during this video you're like, OMG, I'm enjoying this, please consider liking this video and subscribing. It does really help support and grow my channel, so if you feel inclined to do either of those things, I would really appreciate it. All right, let's like do this. I really love this song title. I think it is very telling of the relationship dynamic in this song. I think the term watercolor eyes refers to an image. The image is the aftermath of someone crying. And this person who cried was wearing very beautiful and vibrant and elaborate eyeshadow. Eyeshadow was not waterproof, and the fact that they cried made all of the colors kind of blend together, and it resembles watercolor now. The water is from their tears. So their tears helped create another like medium of art. There's a lot to discuss here. So I view applying makeup as a form of art. It's a form of self-expression. It's something that you really need to practice at to be good at. It takes a lot of precision. You have to know when to apply pressure, when to take off some pressure, and you just have to know how to do it. It really is an art. So to me, I view one form of art, the initial eyeshadow look, being transformed into another form of art, the watercolor. This is a little bit concerning to me because there is art, there is beauty, the word watercolor being juxtaposed with pain. Juxtaposition is when things are set side by side for the purpose of comparison. The juxtaposition here isn't like that apparent, I don't think. Like we don't have the word pain and beauty next to one another. But to me, this juxtaposition is more like metaphorical and more just like implied. To me, it's a juxtaposition because I feel opposing feelings when I look at the song title. So the pain here that caused the tears to flow is creating another form of art. So it's being glamorized and romanticized in a way. And I personally think that is reflective of the protagonist of this song and how they view this relationship dynamic that they're in. And protagonist means the main character. I'm just really caught up on the idea that we still have art on the eyes, but it's like the fact that pain caused this new form of art. That's what's kind of like messing with me a little bit. When your eyeshadow smudges, it can resemble a watercolor, but it's never a cute watercolor. Like you always want to find a makeup wipe and wipe it off. So it would be more of a mess and less of an art piece. I do get the sense that this is being glamorized and romanticized. I am viewing the song title through the perspective of the protagonist. Whenever we have like the perspective of someone who's in a situation, that could make the point of view a little bit more unreliable. Sometimes when you are in a dynamic, it's difficult for you to see it for what it is. And that's why I believe the word watercolor is used here in a context that is not positive. The first line of this song shows us that the issue here is chronic. It's ongoing. It's something that the protagonist's romantic partner always does. Breaking up with me, then making up just to make me mad. It sounds to me like there is some unbalance present in this relationship. There is some chaos. It does not seem like the breakups are happening due to like organic occurrences in this relationship. It seems like the breakups are manufactured by the protagonist's partner. Maybe the protagonist's partner is used to chaos. Maybe when something is peaceful and calm, they freak out and they have to create problems and noise and chaos around them. Maybe that's what feels familiar. So that's a possibility. I don't think the reason is as important as the effect it's having on the protagonist because it's making them cry. I do like how the protagonist is aware of this. They're aware that this is an ongoing problem and they're aware that it affects themselves negatively. I think that you taste like rock candy. This lyric actually reminds me of my latest video on this channel where I analyzed Work Song by Hosier. There's a lyric in that song that talks about sweet kisses resulting in toothaches, and I talked about how that is literally not positive. I talked about how that could be indicative of some unbalance. It's a similar thing here. Sugar is sweet, right? And in moderation, it's fun to eat sugar. You enjoy it, you get a little bit of a sugar high. However, too much sugar is not good for your body. It's not healthy. And this is rock sugar, right? So it's more manufactured. It's just literally pure sugar. If we also look at this from a more biological standpoint, it's really interesting. And I think it really drives home the importance of the diction here, the use of the word rock candy. So rock candy is just like literal sugar. Like what is it? It's like sugar, artificial flavors, and like food coloring. Compare rock candy to the sugar you have in fruit. It's different. Your body will process it differently. When something is just pure sugar, your body is going to absorb it very, very quickly. It's going to go into your bloodstream and spike your glucose, your sugar levels. You're going to get a sugar high, but it's going to drop off really fast. So it's going to get processed very fast, and then you're still going to be hungry. It's not going to satiate you. It's not going to be enough. And you're also not going to feel that great after the sugar high wears off. Compare that to the sugar in fruit. It's still sweet, but fruit is not just pure sugar. There's other stuff in there, right? There's other nutrients, there's minerals, and most importantly, there's fiber. So when you eat fruit, it's going to be processed by your body much more slowly. Fiber plays a big part in slowing down the rate at which sugar is absorbed by your body. So you don't get as much of a sugar high. It's a little bit more balanced. It's less chaotic, and you're more likely to feel satiated. Your body is able to hold on to that sugar and metaphorically to that sweetness much longer. There's more stability. So the fact that the diction here is rock candy is significant. There is no value in that sort of sweetness. You don't want your love to be sweet like rock candy. It's probably better for your love to be sweet like strawberries, right? To me, that is a foreshadow. I don't think that's a positive lyric. It's showing us that the dynamic here is not balanced and healthy. There is no longevity associated with it. And when that sugar high, drops off, it's going to make the protagonist feel emotionally sick. Sweet like beaches leave me all sandy. You'll notice that throughout this song, whenever there is something positive mentioned, there is a negative association mentioned shortly after. Like the beach here is sweet, which is a pretty positive thing, but then it also leaves the protagonist sandy. Not only is it annoying to have sand all over you, it's also a little bit time consuming and difficult to get all the sand off of you. It's bothersome. So there is nothing purely positive in this song. There's always a tinge of negativity associated with it, and I think that's very much reflective of the dynamic of this relationship. Why do you leave me with watercolored eyes? The word leave to me is very significant. The word leave reminds me of the word desert, right? It's like they're being deserted in this sad emotional landscape. Young love don't always last forever. Wild horses can't keep us together. When you see the phrase wild horses couldn't or wild horses can't do something, that's an idiom. It refers to a force not subject to human control. So if we apply that meaning here, it says wild horses can't keep us together. It means that nothing can keep us together. No divine intervention, no miracle can keep us together. So the protagonist has an awareness that this relationship is going to be temporary and that it's probably nearing its end. That's what these two lyrics show us. So what if you taste just like heaven? That don't make it right. So again, the kisses are sweet, but this is not a sustainable form of sugar, literally or metaphorically. Again, I'm glad that there is awareness on part of the protagonist. Perhaps the sweetness was clouding their judgment a little bit. It was acting as a rose-colored lens of sorts, but now that sugar high is dropping off. I love that it says that don't make it right because it shows me that the protagonist has self-respect. They are realizing that just because you love someone, just because they taste sweet, doesn't mean that they can treat you however they want. They need to treat you with respect, right? They need to treat you appropriately. Hot summer and cold watermelon, your love stings like blood and a lemon. Okay, so the first line here gives me some positive vibes, right? Hot summer and cold watermelon. It feels great to have a bite of cold watermelon on a very hot summer day. That line connotes a feeling of relief and enjoyment to me, so that's very positive. However, the line right after it is not positive, right? It connotes pain. It says your love stings like blood and a lemon. It's like someone has a cut, right in that wound, you're squeezing a lemon over it. That's painful. And it's like insult to injury. The fact that there's blood means that there was already an injury there and you're adding more pain by adding the lemon. So that is very significant. It's pain on top of pain. Why do you leave me with watercolor eyes? The fact that the protagonist is asking this, the fact that it's a question is pretty heartbreaking because it shows that they're really wondering this, right? They're like, you taste so sweet. I have all these feelings for you. Why are you treating me like this? Watercolor eyes is repeated here. I always talk about how repetition signifies significance. It always draws your attention to what's being repeated and it kind of like amplifies it. It amplifies its connotation. We already talked about the connotation of watercolor eyes when we discussed the song title. So it's like that energy is being repeated over and over again. That don't make it right. The chorus just really makes it seem like the protagonist is kind of ruminating on the feeling associated with watercolor eyes. They're thinking about how it's not okay. Perhaps they're coming to the realization that it's not okay. Maybe they're having an epiphany of sorts. So now we have the mention of a very specific anecdote, a very specific thing that happened. It sounds like the protagonist's partner doesn't really care about their feelings, doesn't care that their guitar playing is bothering them. There's really a lack of respect here. And I do kind of view this as the protagonist realizing the dynamic of the relationship they're in. They're going over things that happened, like this guitar playing, them acting like a brat. They are noticing the reality of what's been going on this whole time. Again, the sugar high is coming down, it's wearing off. The rose-colored glasses are being taken off too, right? The word brat, that diction to me is very significant. It shows us that the protagonist has a more realist perspective towards what's going on. They're not sugarcoating it, right? Then we have verse 2 repeated. There is only one new word in verse 2. It's in the second line. So initially in verse 2, the second line said, sweet like beaches, leave me all sandy. But here it says, warm like beaches that leave me sandy. A similar sentiment. Metaphorically, warmth in this context specifically, it would indicate a feeling of comfort, of familiarity, maybe even a feeling of safety. But again, it's leaving the protagonist sandy, which is not positive. So it's a positive, again, juxtaposed with a negative. Then we have repetition of the chorus, and then we have the last verse. We have repetition of the question, why are you always doing that? Again, I am reading through these lyrics as the protagonist having an epiphany, kind of like everything is clicking for them all at once. The use of the word hey here is interesting to me. It makes it seem casual. I know that this may not be that significant. Stylistically, it could just be what Lana wanted to sing, but to me, it does give a more casual connotation to this. It's kind of like, hey dude, why did you do this? And I think it is reflective of the place the protagonist is moving towards emotionally. They're losing that romanticized vibe and it's becoming more realist and more casual, which I think is positive. Again, the sugar high is waning. I love that the last lyric is that don't make it right because it's a statement. We've had a lot of questions in this song. It's pretty much the same question over and over again. Why are you always doing that? But the song ends with a statement. It shows awareness. Seems like the protagonist here finally came to a definite conclusion. They're accepting the fact that this isn't right. They're seeing the watercolor eyes as not a form of art anymore. They're seeing it for what it truly is, a mess, and the destruction of the work of art that the protagonist actually intended. The protagonist didn't intend for a watercolor eyeshadow, or else they would have created watercolor eyeshadow. They intended for whatever they created before, right? It was their partner who was messing it up. That's the end of the song, and that's all I have for this song. Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to hear your take on it. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and to subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to comment down below what song I should analyze next, and I will see you next time. Bye!